Good evening, everyone. This is Jimmy. How are you guys doing? This is another training psychology session with me. I know there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of pain, a lot of frustration. So I thought let me do a good training psychology session with you to make yourself ready for the next phase. Meanwhile, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments your biggest mistake you have made in the last in this year. All right, guys, how are we doing today? Let me know in the chat. How are we doing today and what have we learned from this crazy market? I'm going to notify some people that we are online. Join me now. Yeah. So, losing, losses, obviously never fun. There's a general principle in law, and it comes from laws of aversion bias, is that we experience a loss 3 times more than a win. So imagine you lose $100, you basically need to make $300 to compensate that pain psychologically, mentally. So let alone if you lost a lot of money during this insane sell-off. I just have a few principles I want to share. I know there are a lot of new people listening to this live stream with me because it's I made it public. Normally, it's only for members only, but because there are so many people struggling right now, I thought let me do a public one. I want to help as many people as possible. One, this is a safe space, meaning you can say whatever you want in the chat. Please let me know. Secondly, respect others. And I have another principle, the third one, maybe the most important one. Please play full out. There's a reason why little kids, they learn so quickly. They don't have any boundaries. They don't shame. They just go all in. And I suggest you to do the same thing. Go all in and try to implement one of the things I am sharing in real life. Just one little thing. I'm not want you to implement everything. Just one little thing you can implement so you can improve. Um, this is always a interesting chart, right? So where are we right now? The question I try to ask is, when I see this Bitcoin cycle, is where's my own cycle? In relationship to my P&L. Am I euphoric? I mean, imagine I'm a bear, right? Then I would be now in a state of thrill or euphoria. So try to look to this Bitcoin cycle from different angles, bear, bull, and ask yourself, how do you feel in regards to your own portfolio, your P&L, and the market? And what's the difference between those two? Give it a look. Tell me, it's like in the chat, where are we right now? Probably some of you are in a state of depression. Some of you are in a state of angerness, maybe especially people who locked up their UST for a longer time. Some people they're in a state of denial, anxiety. So it differs. I don't think that there's like one state of the market at this moment. I mean, there are a lot of emotions, but probably the more negative emotions are at the moment more dominant than all these other emotions. Let me quickly check the chats. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Thanks, guys, for your contribution in the chat. I mean, the more people talk in the chat, the better. It's also better for me because it keeps me sharp. There are actually a few principles, a few things I want to share with you guys before we're going to continue. Just some general life facts and some NLP presuppositions. One, without a vision, we perish. Why do I say this? Because vision often leads to clarity. Clarity is power. Now so many people are losing money, people they don't have vision and there's no clarity in their head because they are overwhelmed by negative emotions. By the way, I don't think emotions are the enemy of a trader, not at all. It's just that unprocessed emotions are actually the enemy of any human being. I don't believe that emotions are good or bad. No. There are negative emotions and positive emotions, yes, but emotions in themselves, they're actually pretty, I mean, in their existence, pretty neutral. They just occur, they just happen. So don't, I would stop thinking, I would try, if you have this premise that emotions are always a bad thing, that's not true. So I'm digressing here a little bit. So have a vision. Having a vision in a state of pain, in a state of denial, in a state of frustration, in a state of distress, in a state of chaos, is going to be a hard time. So it's paramount that people try to lower the volume of negative emotions if you want to have clarity in your mind. Because without this clarity, without this vision, you will perish straight away. Bomb. The second one, this is an NLP presupposition, and I truly believe in this one. There's no failure, only feedback. And I made a mistake with the comma, by the way. For the people who are sharp, they maybe noticed this. There's no failure, only feedback. Because once you label yourself as a big failure or your whole system, uh, then you label yourself as a failure. I don't think that this is a beneficial belief. So do see it as feedback. The third one, and this one's pretty general, but it's so true. And I want to use this fact by later when I'm going to explain a bias, one of the most um, difficult biases to get rid of. And that's average actions, average thoughts, average emotions, average everything leads to the average outcome. So that's the reason why so many people they fail for some certain biases. And the last one, all behavior, even the most awful or bizarre one, they have a positive intention, like stealing or killing someone. I know this is an awful, bad behavior, but it has a positive intention. And the same goes if you translate this into trading, revenge trading, going all in, using high leverage. It's bad behavior. I do admit that. However, there is some positive intention behind it. Um, so before we continue, there's a lot of fear in this market, and fear is one. I do believe that fear is the strongest emotion out there. It's actually our survival mechanism. My question to you guys is, and I know there are a lot of bright people listening to me right now, is fear, is it natured or nurtured? Nature or nurture? Let me know your thoughts. Uh, Meanwhile, I'm checking the comments. There are a lot of comments. Um, Committing more than I should have and trying to fix my mistakes with more mistakes. Uh, Remind me, this is something I want to talk about today. Yeah, we are here, Mac. We are here to help all of you guys. Yeah, nature, yeah, mix of, yeah, I think we have a really smart guy here in the chat. That's Julian Silva. I think it's indeed natured and nurtured. Quoting a lot of psychologists, fear, it's nature. Only like there are some fears we have, like they are like hardwired. It's a fear for loud noises, a fear for of falling, and the fear of getting rejected. All of these other fears we experience are basically nurtured. They came from a certain environment. So it's indeed mixed. I want you to remember this because most of the fears we have, they're actually lies, because they basically come from your environment. Oh, I'm going too quickly through my slides. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Quickly about your fear response. It's really easy. It is as old as life because fear is there to protect you, but fear isn't always there in your favor, because it's all regulated by your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is not, it's there to protect you, it's to protect your ego, your self-esteem, your physical body, um, but it often leads to irrational decisions, and it can make you really subject to a lot of biases. So that's why we need to learn to understand how to regulate fear, because at the moment there's a lot of fear in the market, without any doubt. I mean, I won't say that I'm not saying that you should use this fear and greed index in isolation. I think it's a bad thing. But if you put this in the whole, like in the context, it's now pretty accurate. It's almost at all-time low. I'm not sure what the real low was. I think 8 or 7, something like that. So there's a lot of extreme fear going on in the market. There's also a lot of herd mentality in the market, and there's also a lot of recency bias in the market. And I will explain your recency bias by displaying a chart. So recency bias is nothing else than that we give more relevance to newer data. So what's new data now when we look to a chart? Well, it's pretty obvious. Um, that we are in a downtrend. So when we are in a downtrend, especially at a high time frame support resistance, we tend to believe that this trend will continue. Yes, it's possible. I do believe that a support zone is at least a pause of the main trend. But when things are going down, people, they tend to believe that things will keep going down. This is a recency bias. So it goes both ways. So if you can remember the April rally, or from Feb till April, when we went up, as you can see, the first recency bias I labeled was just before April. People thought, oh, everything is going up, so up only. Again, then it made a really slight a retrace, and then it went up. People again fell victim to the recency bias, and then things tanked really hard, a big, huge sell-off. What happens then? Oh shit, we are in a downtrend. Recency bias kicks in. Like there's just some small, let's say, a relief rally, and then bum, it goes down again. Recency bias. That's actually a bias you want to counter trade, to be honest. Uh, Another recency bias which occurred was in November. A lot of people, they thought, oh, it's up only, and they just go all in. And this is, psychologically a ideal time for a reversal. And I do see the same now at high time frame support. I mean, on the weekly, I wouldn't say that we broke this support level, but what I do see and what I do believe is that people, this recency bias kicks in again, and people, they think, oh shit, this is sell-off, and most likely this will continue. And I don't think that that is the proper way of thinking. I think the proper way of thinking is to, I'm not trying to say that you should counter trade them, but you should be open for the possibility to counter trade it, if this makes sense. So any questions about recency bias? because I do see, like, if I check Twitter, if I talk with my friends, my crypto friends, they're all afraid for like a multi-year bear market. Um, and that's because we came from a obvious downtrend, right? So understand recency bias and ask yourself, how many times have you felt victim to this bias? Okay, guys, I think we have a lot of smart people here, so it makes sense. I'm happy with that. This is again like the fear greed index. It's when was the real low was just even around 8 or something like that, 5. So you could look. You can also like use the RSI. It gives you basically the same information. This is like another confirmation that there's a lot of fear going on. And we know now that the more fear there is in the market, the more irrational decisions we make, the more recency bias we see, and the more herd mentality we're going to see. Like, I mean, there are a lot of biases. Not going to talk about them, but you should know that bias they occur subconscious, and if you, as I said, if you don't have this focus, if you don't have this vision, if you don't have the clarity in your mind, you will fall victim to all of the biases possible. It's simple as that. So make sure you understand them, because I myself, I do believe in the top-down mechanism. So if you understand a biological, let me call this a biological mechanism, then it's easier for you to one understand, to understand also how to cope with it, and how to regulate this, so it doesn't so you understand this wrong way of thinking, because bias is actually a wrong way of thinking subconsciously. Um, Let me give you like a few discipline tips before I going to continue how to deal with losses from a trading psychology point of view. One, and this is a really interesting question, and please listen. Who has a trading plan? Who has a trading plan? How many of you do really have a trading plan? A plan that tells you where to long, where to short, how to interact with certain market conditions, when you can switch from neutral to bullish, or where you switch from bullish to bearish. Who has a real trading plan, a detailed one? With detailed, I don't talk that. I'm not talking about like a whole thesis of 28 pages. I mean, a few pages is already enough, but who has a trading plan? If you don't have any trading plan, believe me, you need a trading plan, because you, and a written trading plan, right? Not something you have in mind, because that doesn't work. You need to have a written trading plan, because, and listen, you are as good as you write. You are as good as you write to. I will talk more about that in a few seconds. Your trading plan should also talk, or at least cover the training process. And you need to have like this training methodology, like how you want to trade. When it comes to discipline, I would say reduce, like, or get rid of social media. If you cannot reduce or get rid of social media, just like me, less is more. Don't follow everyone on Twitter. Don't follow everyone on Discord or Reddit or whatsoever. Less is more. You will follow a few people, because it's impossible for you to follow everyone. Of course, like, there are a lot of key opinion leaders out there, but you will fall in the trap of analysis paralysis if you follow too many people. Like, go through your list, check your list, and ask yourself, I mean, the people you follow, for example, Twitter, who does give you good content, high quality content is objective, and it's not and it's not a moon boy or a bear boy. I mean, both of them are terrible. um, because a buy should be um, flexible. So go through your list. Less is more. And try to find your personal discipline leakers, because sometimes we deviate from our plan. Sometimes we do have a plan, we deviate from it because we have a lot of discipline leakers. Try to find them out. I can do some different trading psychology session where we go in depth regarding discipline leakers. Um, Another one is like be mindful of your own thinking pattern. I will explain this more when we will talk about how to handle losses. Um, I'm glad that you also admit this. Max is saying here, yeah, social media is an enemy of my plan, because it like the opinions of key opinion leaders, they can interfere with your own plan, and that makes you to deviate from your plan. A plan can only survive if you're consistent with your plan and with your training rules. And if these rules or these training principles, if you deviate from them because of someone, then there's no consistency. Sometimes hard to execute a plan. Yes, I admit. Even though I'm a master NLP coach and have a background in positive psychology, uh, I also deviate from time to time from my plan. However, I always go back to my plan. And when I go back to my plan, I also reward myself for following the plan. There is a question about trading plan. I can do a live stream about this as well. A trading plan is actually not that complicated. In my opinion, it always should start with your beliefs. So, what do you believe about yourself as a trader, the market, and the asset class you're trading? And then you need to have a vision. Like, how do you see yourself? And then you need to have goals. And then you need to have like this process oriented goals. Like, what do you need to do to reach your goals? Um, Imagine like you're starting with 5K. You want to have at the end of the year 25% profits. So what do you need to do for that? um, and then you need to highlight your trading principles. So when are you going to take a trade? When are you going to long something? When are you going to short something? And you should have a system that's back tested by you and forward tested by you. That's actually, in essence, the basic of a trading plan. This is also a good remark. So, what about the trading plan, but still deviating from it? Can happen. It will happen. If it happens, the trick is to go back to your trading plan and not to stick to randomness. Because in this market is actually led by randomness. There's a lot of randomness in the market. Everything is so random. The last person that should be random is actually us as traders. To combat randomness, we need to, not sure if this is a word, but we need to de-randomize ourselves by being by trying to stay consistent. I know it's probably not that, let's say it's impossible to be always consistent, but the more consistent you are, the better. So if you're deviating from your plan, go back to your plan. And don't beat yourself up for deviating from your plan, if this makes sense. I think it will make sense when I will. Um, this is a healthy process in handling losses. I mean, this sell-off also has consequences for me as a trader. Also, especially as a long-term, I have a long-term portfolio. it took a big hit. Not gonna lie. One of the first thing you need to do is um, stopping with a few things and doing a few things. One, stop with beating yourself up. Stop with calling yourself bad names. Stop with damaging yourself by telling yourself, "I'm stupid. I will never make it." I mean, all these thoughts are self-limiting. They're going to self-limit you. You want to get rid of that. You don't want to have these thoughts. So, layer number one, the first layer when it comes to handling losses, not only in trading but actually in life in general, self-compassion. For some people, this sounds a little bit woo woo ha ha, a little bit fake. But self-compassion is important. Treat yourself as how you would treat your mother or your father or someone you really love, one of your best friends. Self compassion, rule number one, self compassion. And then we start to analyze ourselves and ask ourselves, what are the emotions that are really overwhelming me? Like, what are the emotions I'm feeling? Like the negative emotions. What is it? Is it disbelief? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it depression? And try to go as deep as possible. As I said, you are as good as you are. So write it down on a piece of paper. I don't know. I don't care if you're going to, save that piece of paper or throw it away in the bin. I don't care. But what I do care is write it down on a piece of paper. And if you're looking for like more inspiration when it comes to emotions, check this chart or go to the website feelingswheel.com. There are a lot of emotions and try to be as eloquent as possible. For example, it's fear. So, what kind of fear? Is it more nervous? Are you more worried? Do you feel more weak? And then go a level deeper. Is it panic? Are you terrified? Are you frightened? Do you feel, you feel vulnerable? What is it exactly? With your emotions, try to be as specific as possible. As specific as possible. Write them down. It's on a piece of paper. It's not going to take a lot of time, maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, but it's worth the time because that's the way how you process things. So self-compassion determines like the emotions with the strongest emotional load. Write them down. Um, just like write them down. And then the first real step is to try to accept the reality. And I say the word try deliberately. Why? Because often it starts with with lip surface. It's normal. I've been there as well. You try to accept reality. Okay, I accept reality. I took a lot, so let's move on. Bullshit. Take your time and your energy to accept reality as how it is because you cannot undo it. You need to face reality and take your time. I wouldn't say like take years or months. If it is necessary, yes, but you're going to miss out a lot of stuff. So there needs to be some tempo in it if this makes sense. Accept reality and give yourself then permission to feel. Like let everything out. Feel these emotions you already written on a piece of paper. Sadness, depression, let them in, allow them. The mistake people often make is one, no self-compassion, lip surface when it comes to accepting the reality and not allowing them to feel. So this is the thing. If you don't allow yourself these emotions, they will come back. I mean, see emotions as a really tough guy. Let's say Mike Tyson 20 years ago, or Khabib, someone really strong. You cannot beat your emotions. Impossible. Because you cannot control your emotions. It's impossible. They just happen. Because if you're not giving yourself permission to allow them, what happens is subconsciously they will interfere with your decision making process. What happens then? No clarity. What have I told about no clarity, no vision? You will perish. You will perish. Easy as that. You will perish. So give yourself permission to feel. Don't think this is a weak thing or this is for girls. Bullshit. Give yourself permission to feel. Be a man. Be a woman. Um, Another analogy I often make is like, imagine you're in a swimming pool or in the sea. You have this like ball, and you're trying to keep this ball underwater. You can do that for a few minutes, but eventually it's going to pop up, right? And it's going back. It's going to, it's maybe it's going to pop up, and then even with more force than ever. These are your emotions, but if you want to reduce the volume of your emotions, you need to allow them. Third one may be really easy for some people like me, or if you're really an introvert, it's a little bit more challenging. Share your feelings, preferably with someone you really know in real life, who's also a trader, who can relate to the same thing. If not, someone online. If not, write yourself a message. I do believe that everyone should have a training body. Within the Discord, in the burp mess, I always encourage this. Have a trading body. You guys among each other have a training body. Talk with each other about your losses and your wins and your lessons learned, and so on and so on. Share these feelings, share these experiences, and then learn from your losses. I will tell you what people often do. One, no self compassion, lip service when it comes to accepting reality. They try to suppress their emotions, which is a bad thing because these emotions will interfere with your decision making process. They don't share their feelings because they think that's a weak thing, and they try to learn from their losses. So, you tell me, if you try to learn from your losses while you're in a state of pain, denial, frustration, how many big lessons can you learn from that? Not many. Not many. Not many. That's why so many people feel that. So that's the reason why so many people they take revenge traits, because they don't take the time to process everything. They just say, "Oh, I'm gonna learn from my losses and let's move on." Bullshit. That's not the way how it works. And yes, Bob, like it's so obvious, but people they yet do it. Revenging a trait is a freaking bad idea, and I don't want to see anyone doing a revenge trait. Because the revenge trait comes from unprocessed thoughts and unprocessed feelings and emotions. You're literally, beating yourself up, and that's actually the real enemy of a trait, not the emotion itself, but the lack of understanding and regulating the emotion. Emotions are actually, neutral in their existence. Um, Try this website, please. Feelings Wheel, it's free. You see a bunch of emotions, like write down the emotion that makes sense to you, the emotion you're feeling. This is actually like the lessons I learned. This was actually from last year. I just wrote some, a bunch of things. Like, okay, this is a situation. So many people have been liquidated. So much money has been wiped out. Portfolio tanked, and so on and so on. And then what I shouldn't do, committed to do, the options I have, and do understand you always have options. Don't think you don't have any option. You can sell and hodl some of your portfolio. You can sell everything, or you can hodl everything, or something in between. You always have options. Think you don't have an option is in itself a self-limiting belief. You always have options. Let me know, by the way, guys, if you have any questions or whatsoever. By the way, some people already know this. I mean, the people in the burp nest, they already in the burp nest. But for those who are new, if you want to try out a new community, try out our 7 days trial. It's completely like it's free. We don't need any credit card details or whatsoever, just the email address. Will grant you 7 days free access. You can have access to calls, crypto calls, legacy calls, all of that. There's once in a week trading psychology session with me, and every day there's at least like one live stream with someone from the Berknest team. Yeah, thank you very much, Mike. I think it's also my duty, to be honest, to share this. Cost free, free of charge. What really hurts me that people are now thinking to kill themselves or to do stupid things, revenge trading, or they the bad thing with trading or with people nowadays in general is they let something external determine their self-esteem. Um, it's not a coincidence that in a bear market or after a huge sell-off, suicide rates go up. That's I'm not saying that I can prevent all of that, but I do think that I can contribute in a healthier environment. So I think I talked enough. Um, my question to all of you guys who are listening now live, and I truly admire you guys because this shows me a few things. You taking yourself serious, your money serious, your future. You take your future serious and training psychology, and I have a huge respect for that. Ask yourself, what are the actions you are committed to take? What is it? Is it more self compassion? Is it more about accepting losses or getting better in regulating your emotions? Is it journaling? Is it a shift from a focus shift from your P&L to your process? What is it you want to do differently? What's your vision? As I told you guys, no vision, you perish. I don't want to see anyone perish. I hope I make my point. And then um, I think we are. I think we can wrap up if there are no other questions. You can always watch this back, this whole thing. Let me stop this one. Yeah. So if there are any questions, let's wrap this up. Um, as I told you, there is a 7 days free trial. You can try it out for free. We don't need any credit card details, nothing. You can try it as much as you want. Well, 7 days, but you can try out all of our content. If you like it, you can continue. If you don't like it, well, you get your money back. Oh, wait, you haven't paid then anything, right? Because it's a free trial. Just joking here. Yeah, money comes, but money often comes after efforts you made in life. Um, ask yourself, like, what are the efforts you're going to take? And please take it serious. Take it serious because you can have a good training system and everything. If your psychology sucks, then well, everything sucks basically. Last key takeaway, guys, is I already said a bit. Maybe I'm repeating myself, but I think this is important. Your P&L is not a reflection of your self-esteem. Your P&L is not a reflection of how you should feel. Don't let something external determine how you feel, because then you're gonna have a really tough life. Nothing external um, should actually determine your self-image. It's something that comes from inside that should determine your self-image, not something external, because then you let something that's out of your control shaping your destiny, your self-image. You don't want that. You don't want that. Okay, guys, stay safe all. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, DM me on Discord or tag me on Discord if you guys are in Discord. For those who are not following me, you can DM me. I have a Twitter. DMs are open for serious people like you. Love you all. May God bless you all. Stay safe. Bye bye.